Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Travel Truths, Selling Travel's new light-hearted video series, which sees us ask some well-known travel industry personalities some nosy questions about their holidays and the travel that has inspired them throughout their careers. So today I'm delighted to invite Carol Hay to our non-departure lounge. So Carol is Business Development Director for the CTO UK chapter and looks after various different chapter members from across the Caribbean. Not a bad region to represent, Carol.
No, absolutely love it. Always been a fan of the Caribbean. Could be my heritage had something to do with that, but love my Caribbean.
I'm sure. So before we get started, remind us how long you've worked in the travel industry for.
Oh, let's just say decades. The nice way to say I've been in the industry for decades. Absolutely love it. Started off in the industry as a teenager with Portland Holidays many years ago. Loved it so much. Just worked my way through the industry from then.
Great. And how long have you been representing the Caribbean for?
Well, I was the director of the CTO Barbados London office for over a decade. And then when we had changes and CTO closed its offices, I then started my own business and now basically represent the CTO UK chapter and its members. And I've been doing that since the 1st of February. So this new role is just over 2 months old.
New, but an exciting venture, I presume.
Yeah, well, for me, life is always exciting because I just live it that way. But I love the Caribbean. And I think the difference with my new venture is that while I will still be representing the Caribbean, of course, there's going to be the opportunity to embrace other parts of the world, which is fantastic as well.
Great. So let's get started then. Question one, cast your mind back for this one. So what's
Yeah.
your earliest memory of traveling?
Well, I didn't actually start traveling until I was 18 years old. And that was my very first trip. And that was to the island of Jamaica, which is the home of my parents. And that was my first trip abroad, first trip on an airplane. Before that, I'd done the normal school trip to the Isle of Wight. So very first trip was Jamaica. And within a very short time of doing that trip to Jamaica, I got myself a job with Portland Holidays. So that is how much travel influenced me. My first trip changed the whole scope of my career because up until then, I really wanted to be a lawyer and was going in that direction. But once I traveled, I was like, I'm getting in this travel industry.
Oh dear, so you caught the bug then.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite a long flight for a first time flyer.
It was, but it was part of that whole Caribbean culture that, once you could, well, I mean, I grew up in a large family and my parents just couldn't afford to take us all to Jamaica, though they could go. So once I started work at 17, first thing I did was to save up and went to Jamaica because I'd never traveled before and I'd heard about this place all my life from my family. So that was the first place I went to. So that's why it was a long haul flight.
Did it live up to your expectations then?
More than, and the thing is that I didn't do it as a tourist in quotation marks. I was part of the visiting friends and relative market. So I saw so many things that I think, the regular visitor may not gain exposure to. And that was fabulous. The culture, the heritage, the vibes, the people, the music, just absolutely loved it.
Sounds amazing. And is there a place or a travel experience you have had which made you think, that's it, I have to work in travel? Or was it the Jamaica trip?
Well, the Jamaica trip was the first trip, but after coming back from that trip, I very quickly got a job with Portland Holidays. And working for Portland was not a long haul tour operator. So I then got to know places like Austria, Tunisia, most of Spain. And that still whetted my appetite, even though it was a totally different experience from going to Jamaica. I loved my experience with Portland Holidays and actually developed a real love for places like Austria and Switzerland, which maybe I would not have considered visiting before, but just working with them and just just, having to go there and do my educationals and then come back and do team reports, and then just being on the telephones and just having customers, call and say, I want to go away. I found I was really able to sell like non-beach type holidays as well. And to this day, still have a passion for some of the city break type feels, because I just love that vibe as well. So I think I'm just a travel addict. It doesn't have to be a beach for me.
Yeah, it sounds like those experiences really broadened your horizon and
Yes.
created destination knowledge in general then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is there a place that you always return to that, feels like home away from home?
Well, yeah, on a number of occasions, I've been to Malaysia on business trips. And then I went to a Kuoni party and I won 2 tickets to Penang. So while I'd always been like to KL, I'd never actually been like to Penang itself. So with my prize tickets, I went back to Malaysia, but this time to Penang. And it was an absolutely wonderful experience. First of all, I spent a few days in the center. So I had the opportunity to do lots of walking tours and to visit all the famous artworks that they have on the wall. And then afterwards, I traveled a bit further up to the coast and spent a few days on the beach there as well. And it was just amazing because even though I've done tropical, I've done the Caribbean, the whole vibe in Penang was so different. And the thing with me, even though I'm like Caribbean to the soul, I do have an appreciation of other parts of the world. And I've got to say that, that those tickets that I won at that Crony party and having to like go to Penang, for me, it was just fabulous. And I really appreciated just having a wonderful experience, somewhere else in the world. Love it.
Yeah, that sounds like quite the adventure then. And tell us about a destination that surprised you in a good way, or it could be a bad way, either or.
Nigeria. Last year, I had to go to Nigeria. There was a conference there and a trade show, and they invited the Caribbean to be a part of it. And it was and even though I had been to other parts of Africa, I hadn't been to Nigeria in Lagos. And when I got there, I was amazed, honestly, at beautiful, vibrant, modern business. But one of the things I really loved, and when we had time off from the conference and could do a bit of exploration, was going to the markets. Anyone who travels with me will know I love markets. So whether we're in Europe or the Caribbean, anywhere, I'm always like, yep, let's find a market. So we met a Jamaican lady who's lived in Nigeria for many years. And I said, look, we need some fabric. And she took us to the markets. And I was in fabric heaven. I mean, I got some fabulous fabrics. And right now, they're still there as fabrics because I haven't started sewing yet, because I do sew. And I've got sewing machines, but I've just got some of the most beautiful fabric that I brought in Nigeria. And I can't wait to get sewing. And I'm thinking to myself that if we've got to still wear masks, when the new normal returns, I'm going to have some funky masks because I'm going to use some of my fabrics from Nigeria to make some masks as well. So Nigeria really had a fantastic impact on me because it opened my eyes up, to that whole West African culture and the business that they do there, and also the glamour. Occasionally, I will watch some of the Nollywood movies, but the fashions, the beauty, Nigeria blew me away, and I really hope to go back to Nigeria. I also want to go to Ghana. I haven't been there yet, but I'd like to go to Ghana and just understand more about the West African culture and for future projects as well, see what synergy I can create between Africa and the Caribbean and diaspora travel and mainstream travel, because honestly, it was really a fantastic experience. The food, the music, the vibe, actually loved it. I know a lot of people wouldn't even think of going to Nigeria, but one of the things that we did as well was to visit an area called Badagry, and it's like an old slave point town, etc. And I know that for a lot of people, oh no, slavery, but I embrace all aspects of culture and travel, and just going there and meeting their tour guides and listening to the story. Yeah, it was a really wonderful experience and definitely opened up my eyes and my heart to another part of the world.
Oh, amazing. Sounds like such an incredible trip. And maybe we'll see these your new line of mouth
Yes.
masks in the runway, perhaps.
Who knows? Who knows?
For you, perhaps.
They're definitely going to be colourful, that's for sure.
And is there a meal which was so memorable and so delicious that you would jump on a plane or a train just to have that meal again?
Do you know what? I genuinely love food, which I've got to be careful about because I appreciate food. You know, when I say I love food, I don't mean the greedy way. I've always said anything that puts on calories should taste good and should be good for me. So but I do enjoy food. And I think I've thoroughly enjoyed food right across Europe. I particularly like Italian food. And whenever I'm in Italy, I've got very good friends who live in Italy. A friend of mine from Jamaica, she lives in Italy, and whenever I go there, it's just a wonderful delight. You know, she and her husband, they love to drive to all the different towns, and yeah. So I love, as far as Europe is concerned, I love Italian food. And when I was in Italy with them a couple summers ago, they took me to this place, and they have these massive barrels, and you just filled your own bottles with wine. It was a bit like a petrol station, except it was wine, and some great wine as well. I'm like, I could get used to this.
Oh,
I could get used to just going through this place, sampling wine, and then filling my bottles. So that's so true. Also, I'm going to be honest, I love Caribbean food, and when I'm in the Caribbean, oh my goodness. And some of the best places I think have had food, definitely Puerto Rico. Once on a fam trip with Puerto Rico, we did like a restaurant crawl. So for every course, we went to a different restaurant in Old San Juan. Challenge for me was that the restaurant operators were so generous that for every course you had a different wine or a different rum. So by the time we got to dessert, I was like, what a beautiful world this is. You know? The world is such a wonderful place. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Also, love the food. I think in the British Virgin Islands, did another fan trip there, and I was like, hey, listen, you folks, my clothes is shrinking in the sun, but that's because this fan trip was just such a real gastro journey all the way. So yes, love food. But I tell you what else I love. Rum.
oh, of
Rum.
course.
And to me, if you're going to go in the Caribbean, you got to sample our rum. This is, of course, rum from Jamaica. But another rum I absolutely love. When I went to Grenada, and I've been to Grenada a few times on conferences, on fam trips, and they've got this chocolate rum liqueur called Amazing. I'm down to my last bottle, so I won't open it yet. Once I know when I'm going back to Grenada, then I will open this bottle. But this is just like a fantastic, think of Baileys, but instead with a rich chocolate rum flavor. And a couple of years ago at World Travel Market, we had some bottles of these, and we were there with Grenada sharing this, and the agents are like, Carol, this is good. I'm like, I know, that's why we're sharing it with you. So whatever you're going to have a Caribbean meal, if you do drink alcohol, have some rum punch, rum cream. But if you don't, go with one of our fruit punch or daiquiris, because trust me, it still tastes good. So yeah, got to talk about our Caribbean rum.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I can just picture it on a Caribbean beach. I could drink that by the bottle, I think. Sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
oh, it's really nice, and because our offices are pretty close, you never know. I might pop over with some, but when I get a few more bottles, because I know that my friends at BMI, if I open that, we're going to really enjoy it.
Oh, yes. We'll have a party once all this is over. And I know your offices are always fully stocked with rum. So
Yes, it
you
is.
don't
Yeah,
have to go far.
we believe in maintaining the culture and the traditions.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Very professional. And is there a particular book or film or even a TV series which has inspired you to travel?
Well, I'm a great fan of Simon Reeves. So when Simon did his program on the Caribbean, absolutely loved it and followed it as if I was there. I'm also a fan of Ainsley Harriott. So I really love his cookery shows, particularly when he was doing his Caribbean series. And to be honest, I also watch his Mediterranean series as well, because I love it. I love Ainsley. I love the work he does. And I love his passion with food. But as far as books are I'm concerned. I mean, I'm always reading lots of development books because in a love and life, I'm also a coach and a mentor. So I'm always reading those. But right now I'm getting back to basics, and I'm just rereading a great book on Caribbean tourism. And this book was written by a gentleman called Gene Holder, who was the first Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization. So as I look at the Caribbean tourism industry and where we want to go, they normally say that if, you know, in order to chart where you want to go, you need to know where you're coming from. So I'm just kind of rereading this book on Caribbean tourism. Look at some of the challenges that we've had to overcome in the past as we chart the way forward for the future for Caribbean tourism, because sustainability and ecotourism is very important to us. But as we look at the new normal and what we have to do for our industry, we know that health, hygiene, standards, sustainability, these issues are going to become even more important. It's been critical for us because, you know, we've had to be dealing with some of the mosquito-borne diseases, we've also been looking at sargassum and other stuff. So in planning the future of the Caribbean, you got to know where you're coming from in order to know where you want to go. And that's what I'm reading right now.
Right. I think that many of us are taking time to train and educate ourselves and reading books and doing training programs. So learning is key, I think, at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And finally, tell us your dream holiday once all this is over. Where are you going to go?
Well, naturally, I'm going to go back to the Caribbean, and I'm not just saying that because I feel I have to. It's in my blood, so I can't wait to get back to Jamaica. I've got, you know, so many friends there, and I'll show you now. I've even brought my new designer sunglasses. I've got my new fancy designer sunglasses. So I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for the Caribbean. So yes, it will be the Caribbean in terms of at least one vacation in terms of work. Now, other places on my bucket list is Australia and New Zealand. Always wanted to go to Australia and New Zealand. And I think that after this lockdown that we've had, and many of us realize just how fragile life is and the life we know, I think a lot of people are going to be ticking off their bucket list. So I don't know if I'll make it there for 2021, but I definitely want to go to Australia and New Zealand. I also want to see more of Canada. And recently I was reading in one of the travel magazines that came through my letterbox about, you know, renting one of those big, you know, RV vehicles and driving through Canada. So, yep, I think that's something I'd like to do, but someone else will have to be the driver, because me, I intend to enjoy that, sampling some fine wine and other drinks en route. So someone else will have to drive. And also definitely want to do a lot more of Africa. My taste buds for Africa have truly been awakened, and I definitely want to see a lot more of Canada. And obviously Europe's on my doorstep. We'll be doing a lot of work in Europe, but whenever I go to a country, even for work, I do try to just really understand the vibe and the culture. So but I think I'll be looking at things with new eyes after this. I'm going to stop taking a lot of things for granted, as I have been doing where travel and tourism is concerned. And I'm literally going to take time to get up and just smell the fresh air, sample a lot of things, do a lot more walking, a lot more exploration, because I'm one of those people that will be really grateful when we return to the new normal.
Yes, I can completely agree with that. I think we'll have a new appreciation for the world and what's on our doorstep, and I can't wait to actually get out there and just travel again. I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I want to explore more of the UK and the British Isles. And you know, I've never been to Cornwall, so I want to go to Cornwall. And so that's one of the things.
Comparable to the Caribbean, some Caribbean beaches.
And can I just say that we've got our promotion right now, #Caribbean Dreaming. So do get your memories out there, get your beauty spots about the Caribbean, share it and use our hashtag. And also, if you visit our website, caribbean.co.uk, we've actually got a number of competitions running for consumers. Right now it's about winning a stay at Blue Waters Hotel in Antigua that can be used even in 2021. So please share those links with your clients. Reward them. They're going to book with you anyway. So if they can win one of our holiday prizes, why not? So we're going to put up a new holiday today, and by the end of about May going into June, we should have about 4 different holiday prizes up that your clients can win. So share the love with them and let them book some, let them go on our website, enter the competition, and they'll thank you if on top of what they're going to book, they also win a holiday to the Caribbean as well.
Of course, sounds like a great incentive. And is that an ongoing offer then? Does it have an
Yes.
expiration date?
Yeah, we literally started these competitions to because of the lockdown and everyone being at home. But we've realised that even once this is over, working with our members, we'd at least like to now offer 1 holiday per month to consumers, and we're always going to be encouraging our agents to direct your clients there. Someone's got to win the holiday. It can't be me, so it may as well be one of their clients.
Yes, great. Well, I think that's a good note to end on. And yeah, we'll see you very shortly, I hope.
Indeed. Thank you. Take care.